Hi everyone, I'm going to show you a jogless method of joining your work in the round. I'm going to demonstrate this first in Continental or picking, and then I will demonstrate it in English or throwing. You'll want to cast on as many stitches as the pattern calls for, and then you'll want to add on an extra stitch. You'll want to cast on an extra stitch. Now with the long tail method, usually you'll hold your yarn like this where the tail is furthest away from you and your working yarn is in the front and you'll hold it like this. Well, with that extra cast on, you'll want to flip it. So you'll bring your tail to the front and your working yarn to the back. And you'll hold it like normal. And then you'll just add on that extra stitch. Okay, you'll cast on that extra stitch. And from here, you'll want to slip off the first stitch from your left needle onto your right. And then you'll bring that extra stitch and bring it over your front needle. You're pretty much casting it off. And then you'll bring that stitch, the first stitch, back on to your left needle. And you'll see here that it's really, really loose. What you'll want to do is you'll take both strands and pull it apart. You're going to pull it this way. You're going to pull it apart to make it a little tight. Now be careful not to do it too tight. You'll want it to be the same tension as the rest of your cast on. Okay, so you'll tighten it. And once it's tighten to where you like it, you're going to bring that tail through the back, keeping that tension on there by holding both strings. You can add your marker right here, and you're going to knit like normal, keeping that tension. Now we're going to try this again using the English method or throwing. Again, you'll want to add on an extra stitch by bringing the tail towards the front, working yarn in the back, holding it and adding that extra stitch. And then you'll take your first stitch from your left, slipping it to your right needle, and bringing that extra stitch and casting it off over your first needle. Over your first stitch. And then slipping your first stitch back from your right to your left. You're going to tighten it to where it's the same tension as the rest of your stitches. Keeping that tension, you can add your marker. And you're going to knit like normal. See right there. This method is also really helpful when working a V-neck sweater from top down. I did not make this sweater, this is machine made, but you'll be working back and forth, increasing until you get to this part right here, and that's where the pattern will tell you to join the work together. If you use this jogless method, it will help prevent any holes that may occur when you start knitting. Also, it's very good with underneath the arm when you have to when you have to slip the sleeve stitches and then cast on extra stitches for the underarm, or when you're doing the sleeves and then they're asking you to join at the sleeves and to knit down. So that method is really good for just joining your yarn, just joining your work in general. It helps eliminate holes. It also helps with just keeping it nice and tight and together. I've made 2 swatches here. This is the explanation part of the segment. This is called a jog right here. So you'll see I just started knitting. I didn't do the jogless method, and you'll see here that there's a little triangle right here, because essentially when you're working in the round, you're working in a spiral, so it slowly goes up, you know. And right here is where I knitted above this stitch, and it just slightly bumped up. So that's where this little triangle, because it goes up this way. And you'll also see that there's this long little piece of yarn right here. That it just comes with the territory if you just start knitting. And right on this sample right here, this is where I cast it on. This is the beginning of my round, and this is the that cast on method, and you can see that it is in line with the rest of the cast on, because using that method, you are forcing the cast on to stay in line. So you can see the difference right there. You've got that little triangle, and then right here is nice and straight. And that's it. I hope that helped.